Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Flagrant Talk Sports Podcast. It's me, Isaiah, back with my favorite co host, Mr. Moses Famino.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back.
And we're back, and today we've got what might be our final installment of this bracket series. We'll see next week kind of what we're going to do, but this is version 3.0, I believe, where we're going to go through Joe Lunardi's 4.0. Holy crap. Joe Lunardi's ESPN bracket. We're going to make all of our picks. You've seen these videos before from us. Welcome back. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Before getting into the video, again, a couple videos ago, our conference picks is the most liked vid we've ever had on the channel. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the love on that and all of the love you've given us on all of the content that we've been posting since coming back. We've got plenty more in the tank, just a little over a week away from the bracket officially being out. Mo, it's time, man.
It's slowly creeping closer. Conference tournaments, some of them underway. Teams wrapping up their schedules as we speak. It's a beautiful time of the college basketball season, and as they said, we appreciate all your guys' support and excited to drop a little 4.0, Zay, which is crazy that this is the fourth one. Time's flying, but we're having fun. So
we are, and let's kick this fun off with the South region, Auburn's region, even after their loss, being upset by Texas A&M. Auburn's resume at 27-3 is still the best in the country. Janai Broom looked what I would say human for one of the first times this entire year. He's still my player of the year. Obviously, a loss to A&M isn't going to be what deters that, but it's now, as we've been filling these videos out, Auburn hadn't lost yet. So it adds kind of this new flavor as we're going through this bracket of, all right, we've seen them. They're not invincible. They can lose a game.
100%, man. Maybe we aren't going to pick them to be our champion for once, which, that thought really hasn't been there just because of their performance so far. As you said, an 11-point upset by Texas A&M on Tuesday. But Denver Jones was missing, so that's a big part of the Tigers team. Not the biggest worry in the world. Obviously, would rather them get these losses out now than when it really matters. And as you said, Janai Broom, back-to-back games under 10 points, first time all season. We know he's been kind of dealing with that lower body injury. At that point, maybe sit out a game and rest if it's really nagging you that much. But as you said, kind of just felt like him being human for once. At the end of the day, not really too worried. But hey, ESPN agrees with us with the 16 seeds. Both of these teams were teams that we picked in our conference tournament video from the SWAC and the Patriot here in Southern and Bucknell. Who would you have between these two if you had to pick, even though it doesn't really matter?
Yeah. I mean, as much as this pains me, we did pick both of these teams to win their conference, so I like Lunardi seeing it the way we do. I'm going with Bucknell to win. Again, them being battle tested in the non-con has really benefited them in conference play, but let's not get it twisted. Let's not, make it too complicated. We're picking the Auburn Tigers to go on in advance.
100%. I fully agree with the Bucknell pick as well.
Yeah. And this leaves us now with a team I am far less confident in. That actually, let me tee it up with a little more positivity because I have been so negative. Kansas held their own against Houston. They did put up a good fight. They battled them until the very end. And as I was watching, there was a part of me that was like, whoa, they might walk away with a win. They didn't. But Hunter Dickinson recorded his 61st career double-double. Um, a close game that I respect Kansas for staying in because, as we have said time and time again, we're we're not high on this Jayhawks team. It's
100%. But as you said, that Houston game was very impressive for them, as well as the Texas Tech game last Saturday, a game they
Mhm.
also lost, but both very good teams. They had
Yeah.
very good showings against those very good teams. Um, if I'm New Mexico, kind of flipping the page here to the 9 seed, would freaking hate this draw because Kansas obviously in a lot better conference. That although they have been
Mhm.
struggling, starting to look good at the right time, have a big matchup to close the season against the Wildcats, Arizona. I feel like as much hate as I have been giving to Kansas, I would probably give them the win here. As good as New Mexico
Yeah.
has been, um, they've been kind of underperforming, I would say. They're still getting wins, but it's been not as, offensively sound as it was a little bit
Mhm.
earlier in the season for the Lobos.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love Donovan Dent, one of my favorite players in the country. I bring him up as often as I can when we talk about New Mexico or the Mountain West. But I'm with you. I think Kansas being battle tested and things like that, they are playing better. I mean, it's hard to play worse than getting that week where they lost those games by like 30. It's like BYU
The
just
BY, yeah.
dismantling them. Like they're playing better even in losses. So I'm going to give Kansas and say, all right, you'll end up on the right side here, but not with confidence. And
Yep.
Auburn is now who you're up against next. So we could pencil that one in, but we'll hold off. Um,
Yep.
On to the 5-12 matchup. Boise State and
Man.
Xavier to play in to go up against 5 seeded Oregon. Mo, obviously, as the Boise State analyst, this is all you.
This matchup here very interesting as all three of these teams are currently on a 6-game win streak. I found that kind of interesting. Um Boise State versus Xavier, man, that would be quite the matchup. I feel like the Broncos would come through. As we said, they've been knocking on the door this so many years, just trying to get a tournament victory. Although Xavier has been hot, as I said, I think Boise State is going into it with a little bit more momentum, especially with the matchup tonight against Colorado State. Massive one for big seeding big seeding implications for the tournament, plus the conference tournament ahead. Gonna go Boise State in the 12 matchup, but I think the Ducks, either way, are going to come out victorious.
Yeah, I do too. I have the same thing. Xavier's playing some good basketball right now. Them and Boise State are trending up. We talked about it in our bubble video where they're moving up the bracket. This is something you want to see. They've got to keep winning though. Xavier's resume isn't the best. Boise State's resume, I would say, is a little better. The two quad three losses does hurt them, but um, both playing their way into the bracket. I'm going to go with the Broncos, but ultimately the Ducks are playing some really good basketball, held off a good, pesky Indiana team that's trying, as you can see in this region, to stay in the bracket. But a good game nonetheless. I would love to see a Boise State Oregon game in the tournament.
Be fun.
Next up, the Wildcats, Arizona Wildcats of the 4 seed versus Lipscomb. We had Lipscomb winning their conference. They will have their title game on Sunday,
Yep.
whenever you're watching this. So that'll be big. They'll be the first conference in the ASUN to punch their ticket. So must watch basketball there. Um, how are you feeling about this one? Are you feeling bold? Are you sticking with Arizona? What's your thought here?
I'm slightly worried about Lipscomb just because they're coming off of it is a victory in the ASUN tournament, but they got pushed to overtime against Queens in the semifinal. Very nerve-wracking victory. They did come through, and on the flip side of that, North Alabama, neither of us picked them. We both picked Lipscomb. Lipscomb. Uh, they've been cruising. I'm very worried. I think Arizona, after putting up 113 points in regulation on Tuesday, that is obviously not a lot of defense going on as ASU scored
No.
100, but the fact that you can put up that offensive number, I just think a 13 seeded Lipscomb wouldn't be able to keep up.
We're 4 for 4 on our picks here. Arizona is one of those teams, they are going to live by Caleb Love, and they are going to die by Caleb Love. There is no way around it. He went 2 of 14 against Iowa State when they lost that game, and then has a much better performance against Arizona State. That's really what it's like for Arizona. They have a good team. They can make it to the second weekend. If they want to do anything extra, it's on Caleb Love being a star in March. We'll see. Streaky when he's on fire. When he's missing, he could go 2 of 14. So it's really we're gonna have to wait and see and find out what happens there. But I'm with you on the pick. Next up, another one. I'm going to defer to the Mountain West specialist. We have Louisville as the 6 seed going up against 11 seed in a play-in, San Diego State and Indiana. What are your thoughts here?
That 11 seed matchup is a good one. Although SDSU is trending down, a 7-point loss to UNLV on Tuesday, they have a chance to get back in the win column against Nevada tomorrow at the time of this recording. As for Indiana, as we mentioned, tough one against Oregon, but Oregon a lot higher seeded, better team at
Yeah.
the moment. I'm very worried about this San Diego State team. I think they peaked a little bit too early in the season. I personally would
Yep.
take Indiana in that matchup. Either way, though, liking the Cardinals, I would go Louisville over honestly both of them.
Yep.
But
I again, we're 5 of 5. We're picking the
wow,
chalk picks. I feel the
yep,
same though. I don't like the way San Diego State is playing right now. We know as a unit they pride themselves on defense. That is their calling card. It really has been as long as I've been watching college basketball. Um, but yeah, this Louisville team is playing great. I believe, I got to find the exact date. Yeah, 18-1 since December 21st. They're playing some great basketball. I know it's a weaker ACC, but it's them, Clemson, and Duke that are in that running for me to win the ACC. I really like this Cards team, and I think
yeah,
they will be a tough, tough out in March when the bracket is revealed.
guards, some depth. Yeah, I
Yep.
just really liking the Cardinals at the moment.
Yeah. Um, Next up, 3 seed. If you've been tuning into these, you know how my eyes light up, how I get all blushy and excited to talk about this St. John's team. But they're going up against 14 seeded Towson, who neither of us picked to win, even though I believe they're the 1 seed in their conference to
Yeah,
win it. So an underdog, even though they are the 1 seed, at least here on Flagrant Talk. Towson, a great defensive team. They're rattling off some wins at the right time. They do a great job of wearing you down in the half court. They play at a very slow pace. They want to grind you out. That's their MO. St. John's, they like that.
you're
They
running
want to
into the
throw.
grind champions. Yep.
Yes, that falls right into their trap. They may not be able to hit a 3, and it's ironic that a Michigan State is sitting here in this region as well, but they can grind you out, they can clamp you up, they can work you. I really love the St. John's team. I'm gonna pick them to advance.
Zay, we are 6 for 6 here, starting off in the South. Yeah, I guess maybe looking a little disrespectful to chalk, but I think that just shows how high we are on
Mhm.
some of these teams, except
I do
for
too.
what's this? But,
Yeah, that
but yeah.
yeah, but well, we don't no need to beat a dead horse. It's perfect timing that you said that though. 7 seeded Memphis, make or break your bracket, said it a million times. It stands true. PJ Haggerty, bucket, incredible, one of the best players in the country. Offensively, playing a Bulldogs team that is playing some of their best basketball at the right time, back
Yep.
to back road wins. They avoided that loss to South Carolina, which is great because you don't want those. So that them and LSU, they're the two SEC teams you cannot lose to. And I'm going with the Bulldogs this time around. This is the first time I haven't had Memphis win a game. They're boom or bust, and I like the way the Bulldogs are playing.
I agree as well. I have the Bulldogs. They have been hot since knocking off Florida a little over a week ago. Just really, really liking what they're doing. A big chance on Saturday, tomorrow, to get another big win against Vanderbilt.
Need that.
And I'm just, as you said, a little worried in the Tigers' boom or bust ability, riding the hot hand with the Bulldogs.
Yeah. And that leads us with the final South matchup in the round of 64. Michigan State going up against Robert Morris. Robert Morris is a team we picked to win the Horizon.
Yep.
Great defensively, number one in league play and efficiency percentage defensively. So that is their calling card there. As for Michigan State, um, it's it was interesting. I was tuned in last night before I went to see a movie against them playing Iowa. The first half looked sloppy, and then in the second half, they put up 61 points and were able to pull away and get the win. A tale of two halves, for sure. I like this Spartans team. Had them go, I believe, to the title game last time. I'm going with the Spartans yet again.
I am as well, although, as you said, we did pick this Robert Morris team out of the Horizon. Izzo, man, he's got the boys firing on all cylinders at the right time. A little bit of battle testing never hurt, as you said. Rough
No.
first half, great second half. And another big game on Sunday against Michigan, who has been on a
Whew.
downward slide, but
Yeah.
can get a chance to prove a point on Sunday and show how solid this Michigan State team is.
Mhm. College basketball is better when those teams are tournament teams and good and vying for a conference title. So always happy to see that matchup. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Going to the round of 32, Auburn, Kansas. We already said it. Where I'm picking Auburn. No need to, get too cute.
I agree. Um, Health obviously is the big question mark, but they're going to be fine
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah. I've said it every single video. It is nearly impossible for me to even consider outing the Tigers before the Sweet 16. Like I can't
Yep.
even consider them losing in those first two rounds. Sweet 16 is where I can consider it, but they're too talented of a roster. So, can't do it. This
Mm-hmm.
one, a West Coast battle, a
Yeah.
fun former Pac-12 matchup, the Oregon Ducks and the Arizona Wildcats. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go with the 5 seeded Oregon Ducks though to advance.
I have the Ducks as well. Love this West Coast little throwback matchup here, but
Mhm,
just liking the what the Ducks have been doing as of late, compared to the Wildcats, as you said. It's scary relying on one guy being your make or break on offense. As good as Caleb
mhm.
Love is, I think Oregon's depth is going to be the key here.
I do too. This 6 versus 3 matchup, one of the harder ones for me to pick in this whole bracket, Louisville and St. John's, because I do really like both of these programs, but I like St. John's a little bit more. Love their defensive intensity. I'm gonna go with the Johnnies to make it to the second weekend.
I am normally with you on St. John's. I'm going with Louisville in the
Ooh, I
offense
like it.
for once. I'm really liking what the Cardinals have been doing, especially as we're closing out the season. As you said, big shot in the ACC
Mhm.
conference tourney to turn some heads with maybe a victory over Clemson, a victory over Duke. We'll see.
Yep.
But I'm gonna go with a little bit of the upset pick here for once and go with Louisville, man.
You won't hear any complaints out of me. This Cardinals team is very good in most circumstances. I would have Louisville get into the Sweet 16, but they ran into my Johnnies.
Yep.
This 2v10 matchup though, as much as I want to pick a big and bold upset here of a 10 seed, I'm gonna go with the Spartans to advance.
I agree. I think the Bulldogs magic kind of runs out. As battle tested as they have been in the hardest conference in the nation. It's hard to pick against Izzo. I feel like we come back to these same few
Yep,
points, but if it ain't broke, I'd say don't fix it.
agreed. Until I see otherwise, the point
Yep.
stands is the
Yep.
way I look at it. So I agree with you there. On to the Sweet 16, the Auburn Tigers against the Oregon Ducks. It's a tough game for Auburn, but I'm going with the Tigers. This is tough though. A piece of me did want to pick the Ducks.
Yeah, I especially if they made it this far, coming off a great win against Arizona, it's very tempting. But the Tigers, man, just I think
Yeah,
Oregon's defense wouldn't be able to keep up with the offensive output of Auburn.
agreed there.
Yeah,
And this one, you could kick us off here. We got Louisville, Michigan State for you. I have Michigan State and
man,
St. John's.
both of those giving me some like I don't know old school like throwback. Final, I don't
Mhm.
know. I love the matchup here. Although, Michigan State looked shaky, I'm going to keep them rolling, going chalk 1 and 2. How boring. But
Yeah.
the two best teams in this region for a reason. I'm riding with them.
So I failed to mention it, but Louisville and St. John's is fun because you get Patino going against his old team. I
Oh,
totally
yep.
forgot to
Just
include
spaced
that
it.
as a note. Yeah, but that would make that game even more exciting. I have St. John's here going up against Michigan State, and I've got the Johnnies getting the victory, going on an Elite Eight run, and that sets us up the first Final Four matchup. We know my love for the Johnnies. I want to do it, but I can't. I'm going with the Tigers to go Final Four.
Yeah, we seem to have a commonality with this Tigers team, and
Yep.
as we've said, we haven't had a comment yet explaining that it's wrong. So I'm sticking with the Tigers, man. I
Yeah.
haven't obviously they took a loss this week, but again, get it out now,
Yep.
please. And
Yep.
they weren't healthy. Denver Jones is coming back. He's going to be playing in the tournament. Knock on wood, unless they're hiding something. But
Totally.
it was apparent that he was supposed to be back for that game. They were just being precautious. I'm going with the
Yeah.
Tigers.
If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. And that leads us to the West region where Florida has moved up from a 2 seed to a 1 seed to be the leaders of the region. They will go
Wow.
up against Norfolk State, who we picked to win the MEAC. Um,
Yep.
Very solid defensively for Norfolk State. The calling card yet again. But this Gators team has the upside. They're one of the teams. If I'm collecting 5 to 8 teams that I think can really win a title, Florida is in that mix. A very good team.
I agree. Not gonna get cute here, although we both like Norfolk State. Florida coming off massive win in Alabama. They get to close the season against an Ole Miss team that's coming off a massive win of their own. Um, Again, not going to get cute. Sticking with the Gators.
Yeah. And now we get a great 8-9. Creighton and West Virginia. I'm I'm struggling here because I do like both of these teams. Um, I'm going with the Mountaineers this time.
I like it.
I'm
I
going with
like it. They're
yeah,
they're
yeah.
rising.
They are. They definitely are. It's crazy when we started this a couple weeks ago. It was like, oh, they're hanging on. We'll see. Now they've got a little wiggle room. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're almost a lock in terms of at least making the bracket in some capacity. Tucker DeVries, amazing. Javon Small, amazing. A fun Mountaineers team out of the Big 12. Let's do it. It is tough. I like that Creighton team. Kalkbrenner can go for 20-10 against any opponent, and he probably will. So
Yep. Teed me up perfectly because I'm going to stick with Creighton and Kalkbrenner and Ashworth and company. Um, both teams play on Saturday. Both should win their final games of the season. CU against Butler, West Virginia against UCF.
yeah,
But gonna rock with the Blue Jays and the two-man combo, as I said. But this would be a great game. Both teams probably
yeah,
deserving of at least winning one game, but that's the beauty
yeah.
of March.
And that leads us to a Michigan team that is struggling. They were a team a couple weeks ago I had going Final Four. While I love Wolf and Golden as their big men, there's a lot of that supporting cast, especially as of late, has really failed them, and it's the
Yeah.
worst time to be dealing with those kinds of issues. That is what leads to you being upset way earlier than you expect to lose a game there in the bracket. Going up against 12 seed McNeese, I like McNeese. We both picked them to win their conference, but it's not a particularly strong one. Will Wade is a great coach, but I'm going with Michigan. It's getting less and less confident to pick them to advance, though. I will be totally honest.
It's crazy. We've both been high on this Wolverines team, but had to take a step back because, as you said, Golden and Wolf doing their thing, but it's the supporting cast. I forget if it was the most recent game or the Maryland game, but they both put up 20, and the supporting cast wasn't able to help them out get the job done.
Yeah.
As you said, we both picked McNeese. Really think they're a good team, but the conference isn't doing them any favors. Not as good as they've been. Gonna rock with the Wolverines, but not as high as we were 1 week ago. Crazy.
No, not at all. It's been tough. And again, it's not like I'm out on them where it's like, oh, they're guaranteed to get upset. I don't care who they play, but it is a worry. My worry
Mm-hmm.
has grown more and more where I once had a lot of confidence in this Wolverines team. Um, Next up, a fun one. If you like offense, you're gonna love this game. Four-seeded
Yep.
Kentucky against High Point. We did also pick High Point to win their conference in the Big South. Uh, Inside out combo. They're able to knock the three ball down. They score with the best of them, and that offense is able to keep them in games against opponents that are simply better than them. Um, for Kentucky, an up and down kind of weird year, and they just lost Jackson Robinson for the year. So that does impact their guard wing sort of rotation there. They've been dealing with injuries a lot this year. It's been sadly par for the course, but I'm going with the Wildcats to advance.
I agree. As you said, both have High Point out of the Big South, coming off of a win this morning, a 21-point win, advancing them to the semis. Kentucky crushing LSU on Tuesday, 95-64, finishing the season against Missouri, who has been sliding as high as we've been on them.
Mhm.
The injuries, as you said, blow for the Wildcats, but I think they'll be able to get it done in this matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. This Wildcats team is really interesting to me, though. I'm going to be, as it is every year, observing them and kind of what they can do with this roster. Um, Onto the sixth seed, a team very familiar with out of the WCC in St. Mary's. As a Zags fan, it pained me, but I did pick them to beat the Zags again, 3-0 them, and win the WCC.
Yep.
The Scales team is playing some amazing basketball right now, but so is Calipari and his Razorbacks out of the SEC, doing a great job of playing their way into the bracket. Um, this is tough. I want to pick Arkansas, but I think this Gales team is very solid. Great defense. They rebound with the best of them. Mitchell Saxon is a beast on the interior. I'm going with the Gales to advance.
Yeah, this is a really tough matchup. I believe I had Arkansas going on a little bit of a run in our last
Hmm.
bracketology because I think they're that good. The up and down, the highs and lows is what worries me with this team. I'm going to stick with the Gales and the 7-game win streak. The consistency is the word I was looking for. It's been there. It's been proven
Yeah,
throughout this season. And as you said, as we predicted, if they're coming off a WCC tournament victory as well, I think they are bound to, if not win a game, go on a little bit of a run here in the Big Dance.
agreed. I agree. And it's been a little while since we've seen that. It feels like the Gales are kind of due for an appearance in March Madness, obviously getting upset in the round of 64 last year to Grand Canyon, which is
Yeah.
one of my favorite games I've been able to attend as a person who isn't a fan of either team. That environment, they did St. Mary's so dirty playing in the kennel where it was a JCU home game. It was insane.
Yeah.
So hopefully St.
Yeah.
Mary's can get a little more of a better draw this time around, given how well they have played this season. Um,
Mm-hmm.
On to the 3 versus 14 matchup. We have Wisconsin versus Chattanooga. Chattanooga, did we both pick them to win the SoCon? I can't remember off
No,
the top.
we both
Yeah.
picked Samford.
Yes. Yes. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it was. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, what was the pick there? Still, Chattanooga, a very good offensive team, one of the most efficient offenses in the country. I think they're top 25 there.
Yeah.
So,
As we mentioned this in our conference pick'em vid, Chattanooga is the top team in the SoCon. Our Samford pick, although the net agrees with us, it was kind of out there as they're the 4th team, I believe, in the conference.
yeah,
This Chattanooga team is really damn good. 11-game win streak entering the SoCon tourney. We'll see them
yeah.
play on Saturday. We have been high on this Badgers team. It did get reined in after a tough loss a couple weeks ago to Oregon. Gonna have
Mhm.
them here in this matchup, but Chattanooga, watch out for, as you said, that offense is no joke.
I agree. And Wisconsin, they were in a close one yesterday with Minnesota. They really battled it out. Blackwell balled out 25 points and 11 rebounds. I love this Badgers team. I think they have Final Four upside. And we'll see what they can do, obviously, this time around in the bracket. But on to the
Mhm.
7-10 matchup. Again, Mountain West team here. We got 7 seeded Ole Miss versus 10 seeded Utah State. Mo, what do you got?
Man, this is just it's brutal. I feel like they're doing this to the Mountain West on purpose, man. Like these
Hmm.
obviously these are all hypothetical. We'll see with selection Sunday the real deal, but I am not a fan of any of these draws for these Mountain West teams. Ole
Mhm.
Miss currently cooking back-to-back wins, huge ones at that, at home, against Oklahoma on Saturday and against Tennessee on Wednesday, a little buzzer beater action. They get to close it out, as we mentioned, against Florida. Utah State currently on a 2-game skid. They
Yeah.
should crush Air Force tomorrow, but unfortunately, I'm gonna go with the Rebels and Ole Miss in this matchup.
Yeah, I am too. That game against Tennessee was amazing. It's one of those marquee
Insane.
wins you get at the right time, and I believe they end the year against Florida.
Yep.
So another opportunity to add another win and really improve your seeding. Um, that sets us up for the final round of 64 matchup: Texas Tech and Bryant. We both picked the Bryant Bulldogs to win. But this Texas Tech team. Oh, we didn't. Who did you
You
pick?
have I have Bryant, you have Vermont, I believe.
Oh, dude, apparently I'm tweaking on these picks. Listen, there's 31 conferences. Okay, my
There's a lot
brain's
of
my brain's a little
conferences.
scrambled. Yeah, there's a lot of basketball going around in my head. You're right. You did pick Bryant. I did not. So, but still, a good Bryant Bulldogs team nonetheless.
Yep.
With all of that teeing up said, I'm picking Texas Tech.
I agree. No need to dive into it too far. The Texas Tech
Yeah,
team, man, they have just been on a steady uphill climb, and they
yeah.
should continue that against Arizona State tomorrow, closing the season,
Hmm.
regular season.
Yeah. And that sets us up with the round of 32. Florida versus Creighton for you. Florida versus West Virginia for me, Mo. Who is your pick here? Any big upset?
I believe it was last year we had, or I had, I'm not sure where you had them, but I think I had Creighton going pretty deep, and
Yeah,
that didn't come to fruition. Um, Here I'm gonna go with the depth of the Gators. As good as Creighton is, Florida, their ceiling is championship. So I
yeah.
don't think Creighton's is that, unfortunately.
No. I picked West Virginia to play Florida, and I'm picking Florida. So no need
Yep.
to spend too much time there going back and forth. Um, Michigan versus Kentucky, though, I believe we've had this either in a previous bracket at some point, and I picked the Wolverines to win. Not this time. I'm going with the Wildcats to advance to the Sweet 16.
You're right. We did. I can't remember if it was the third or second edition of the
Yeah,
bracketology, and we both picked Michigan. We're
yeah.
both picking Kentucky this time around.
Yep.
Wolverine, just not a good time for a slide, man. Not
No,
This is not the time for that.
not at all. Not at all. And again, it's not over. There's basketball remaining for them to turn it around. They're a talented team, two of the best big men in the country, but not the time to start flailing and exposing your flaws. So I'm going with the
Yep.
Wildcats team that offensively I feel a little better about. On to a banger, 6 seeded St. Mary's Gales against 3 seeded Wisconsin Badgers. As much as I'd love, well, that's not true. I guess I'd be lying if I said I'd love to see St. Mary's go on a run. As talented as St. Mary's is, I'm going with Wisconsin to take care of business, sticking rather chalky so far.
I'm switching up my flow. I dropped a little
Mm,
teaser with St. Mary's, being due for a
nice.
run. This is where I'm dropping it in. As you said, this would be a banger of a game, but I think the defense of the Gales and that just the the way that they play all around offensively, in and out, hitting shots,
Yeah,
getting down low, banging. I'm loving the all around ability from St. Mary's. Give me them to go on a little run.
not mad at that. And I'll tee this one up. I love this Texas Tech team. I think they have Final Four upside. I think Ole Miss plays spoiler.
I do as well. I love it, Ole Miss right now. Love it, Ole
I
Miss right
I'm
now.
I think that they're again one of those boomer bust teams. I think they're capable of surprising people and going on like a Final Four run. They're not good enough to win a title, right? But when that defense is fully locked in, they can compete with anyone. They shoot the three ball pretty well. They defend well. That I like this Rebels team. If I'm a 2 seed and they end up here, or they might improve to a 6 seed, we'll have to see as the SEC tournament plays out. But this is a very good Ole Miss team. Got them playing spoiler.
I agree. Offensively as well, they got depth and they got 5 guys in double
They
digits.
do.
I'm just really liking Ole Miss right now. Texas Tech is a team that at the beginning of the season wasn't even in the top 25,
Yeah.
soared up the board and it's been earned. They've been playing great in a
Mhm.
really tough conference, but I agree. I'm liking the spoiler pick here with Ole
Yeah.
Miss, man.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta have some. I feel like a 2 seed or a 1 seed losing in the round of 32, you almost have to pick at least one during when you're filling out your bracket. It just so happens this time around Texas Tech is that team, but I've had them go on runs in previous brackets. So less of an indictment on them and more of a I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the Rebels. So with
Agreed.
that being said, 3 of our 4 teams in this region are in the SEC. Who would have thunk it? Um, got 1 seeded Florida against 5 seeded Kentucky in an SEC against SEC game. I'm going with the Gators to take care of business.
I do as well. I know it's been rough, obviously sailing in the SEC, but I think this Gators team, man, they might be. We might have been wrong about our SEC pick. We'll see, man. There's a lot of basketball
Yep.
left. That's all I got to
Yep.
say.
There is. This is a very, very good Gators team. So I'm not going
Yeah.
to disagree with you there. On to I'll leave your matchup up. You have St. Mary's against Ole Miss in a fun kind of 2 teams sleeping their way through the bracket. Who have you got to go to the Elite 8?
Man, this would be another great game. Great offense clashing with a great defense. And plus, and not like they're minus on the other side of the ball as well, plus on both sides of the ball. I have Ole Miss, the 7 seed,
Yep.
rolling to the Elite 8. Who would have thought? But man, battle tested. It matters.
Yep.
And this would be another heater of a matchup.
Well, I have Ole Miss versus Wisconsin, but I've got the same winner. I've got the Rebels going to the
Mm.
Elite 8 to take on the Gators in what will be an SEC against SEC game to play a team in the Final Four that's in the SEC. Who would have
Look at
thunk?
this.
Uh, Crazy. And this is where, for me, the Rebels' run comes to a halt. After a great season, the Gators, too talented, too deep, just an incredible team. I've got the Gators facing off with Auburn.
I wasn't going to address this, but, just because I also have Florida as well. We're picking chalky here, it might seem. We received a comment that, picking chalky is boring, pick a team off the board. Then I would just be lying. This is what I
Uh,
feel. These are the teams that I
yeah,
think are the best. They're 1 seeds for a reason. Yes, upsets happen in these bracket renditions that we have. Obviously, this isn't the final one. This is what I
yep,
foresee. I'm sorry if you hate it, but
yeah,
appreciate you letting us know. That's your thought. That's fine.
yeah.
It's perfectly okay.
I I agree with everything you said, except for you saying, "I'm sorry if you hate it." I don't feel sorry. Fill out the bracket on your own. We are our own people. We can have our own opinion. So I'll throw that part in more of an asshole way. But
Mm,
that's
mm.
my whole thing. I'm not going to make contrary. Mo and I had a whole talk about this in sports coverage. This is a video onto its own, but I'm not going to pick clickbait, upset picks for the sake of, oh, maybe we'll get a comment of someone who is surprised or upset or angry. No, I'm going to pick based off of what I'm feeling. So when Moses and I pick Ole Miss as a 7 seed to go to the Elite Eight, you can be like, oh, they're serious. Like it carries weight. We're not saying things for like comments or likes or whatever it is. Like we mean it. So we're not gonna pick, a 16 seed to beat a 1 seed. So a ton of people will comment, "OMG, you're an idiot." We're gonna stick with what we think. So yeah, two 1 seeds in the
100%.
final four. Okay,
Yep.
hate us, hate us. 1 seeds for a
Sorry.
reason, man. um, on to a great Duke team. A 1 seed, the best team in the ACC in what has been a weaker conference this year, going up against Quinnipiac or Southeast Missouri State. Any thoughts on this one for the 16 seed? And then,
Well, yeah, I'll start it off with similar to the South region, not gonna matter, spoiler, but in faith of the bracket, neither of us have Quinnipiac actually out of the Metro
no.
Atlantic Conference. You have Merrimack, I have
Yep.
Marist. Your pick smacked around my pick yesterday by almost 20 points, a little sidebar. So we'll see
Yeah.
who comes out of this conference. We were similar with this SEMO team out of the OVC. Their first game of the tourney is tonight. I personally am going to have SEMO winning the 16 matchup, but as I said, you're running into a blue blood. You're running into a generational talent. You're running into a damn good Duke team. Give me the Blue
Yeah.
Devils.
Same page. I've got Southeast Missouri State losing to Duke. Nothing more really to add there. A great game here though.
Yep.
UConn and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is playing some good basketball right now, going up against a team attempting to win 3 titles in a row. They're not going to, but they are attempting to do so. Vanderbilt, their weakness is defensively. It's kind of a glaring issue.
Yeah.
They're outside of the nation's top 350 in efficiency percentage on defense. That is going to be what kills them. So that is what I'll add in for Vanderbilt, but a tremendous team nonetheless, a team that number shouldn't deter you from picking them to win a game or two. I'm going with Solo Ball though, and Dan Hurley with UConn to advance though.
I am as well. Wow, I didn't realize it was that poor. Just had to double
That bad.
check for
It's that
myself.
bad.
Yeah, man. Man, I wish this Huskies team was, a 2-3 seed and they could have been my cop out to win their third straight. But it's been a rough season. Big win against Marquette the other night on
Yep.
Wednesday. I'm going to go with the Huskies as well. And the upside that they have, the talent, it's been there all season, hasn't been clicking. But I think Dan will have the boys right to win one game. It would suck if you're an 8-9 because, sorry,
Yeah.
you're not winning two. But at least one.
Yeah. I'm with you there. And that sets up a team we're both high on in Missouri. A team
Two
that you picked to
teams.
go to a title. Yeah. And then Yale, a great team out of the Ivy League.
I picked them to go to the title, man.
You did. You did. Have you
I
got them?
forgot
Are you
until
going
you
to pick them
said
to lose?
I forgot until you said that.
Oh,
I
no.
I I don't have
Oh,
them
no.
losing, thankfully, because that would be
Oh,
crazy. That would be insane.
you
But it's
know,
March. Anything could
it
happen.
is.
But
It is.
I have the Tigers. This hurts because Yale, I feel like, as we've been talking about, very popular upset pick for a reason. We both picked them out of the Ivy. Missouri, back-to-back losses at the moment. They play against Kentucky against tomorrow in another tough matchup that they might lose. Could end the season on a 3-game skid, which sucks.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna right their wrongs, have a all right performance in the conference tourney, and they gotta get a W. They cannot get bounced in the first round.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I've got
Yeah,
Missouri, but this is absolutely a tough one. Speaking of tough ones, Maryland, the Terrapins, who I believe has Final Four upside. They are one of those teams that I feel that strongly about. Um, for Liberty, back atop the Conference USA, um, great on both sides of the basketball, a dangerous team, and not a fun team to open up your tournament against for the
yeah,
Terrapins, but I'm picking Maryland to advance and take on Missouri nonetheless.
yeah, man. Part of the Michigan spiral are the Terrapins with a win the other night on on the opponent's court. Um, Dang, both of these, Yale and Liberty, probably are going to upset a team, I feel like, in March. Like, if I had,
Yeah,
but this is not one of those, neither of these teams are one of them, unfortunately. These teams,
no,
the upside is just, it's so there. We've been
yeah,
talking about Maryland and how good the starting five is. It's maybe the best in the nation. I have to go
I,
Maryland.
yeah, yeah. It's tough. It's definitely tough, but yeah, it's the draw they got in for Lenardi, and a tough one at that.
Yeah. And it doesn't
Speaking
get
of
any
tough draws,
easier here. Yeah.
it-
What the
we
hell?
we've had this one in the bracket, and we both picked UCLA. I'm doing it again. Like
Dude,
it's it sucks.
we like, I don't think we've had UC San Diego win a game.
We have I haven't, and I want to.
Yeah. These draws, man. The Bruins up and down, but hot at the right time. I'm sticking with the hot hand, man.
Yeah, and I will say UCLA almost blew it against Northwestern. So that wasn't the most confidence inspiring win, but a win nonetheless. They'll close their season against USC. Tough one. I'd like UC San Diego State to win one, but not today. Um, On to the Big Sky, or I might be, yeah, no, I might be tweaking, but Iowa State and Northern Colorado.
No, I love it.
Um, I This is tough. I'm so like Iowa State is one of the hardest higher seeds for me to like put my finger on how I feel about them. Um, Lost in double OT to BYU in an incredible game. Awful final possession for the Cyclones. They had 5 players score in double digits. I love their guard play. I'm going to pick them to win, but I'm really conflicted on Iowa State.
Same here. The Cyclones, very worrisome team for me. I'm gonna have them
Yep.
against this Northern Colorado team that I picked out of the Big Sky, but I'm worried. I'm worried about the Cyclones, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get to them, but the concern is there. But we still got them winning a game. We're not getting too
Mm-hmm.
cute. Um
Mm-hmm.
for BYU, a team playing some great basketball at the right time. We had a couple Cougars fans commenting on our videos about like, "Hey, we're feeling good about our team. You should feel good about your team." Like they were playing some great basketball. Ohio State as a 10 seed is their matchup. Um, the Buckeyes took care of Nebraska, which is great, but the Huskers haven't
Mhm.
looked good. So it's hard to, and when they needed, they
Yeah.
had 3 Buckeyes with 22 or more points. Absurd. Um, but I'm going with the Cougars. Take care of business.
Dude, this might be our most similar bracket that we have so far, but I'm also going with the Cougars. Um, as you said, Ohio State taking care of business, but the Huskers have been just played themselves out of the tournament. A game
Yeah,
talked about game they needing to win. They needed to win that game, and they came out flat.
yeah.
BYU talked about it last time. Injury worrisome, but got the Cougars in this first
Mhm.
round.
And that leaves us with an Alabama versus South Alabama matchup. It's weird to see Bama not as a 1 seed. This is our first bracket without it.
Yeah.
After an interesting couple of games. But that 1 seed is still in play. It's not over. They could still get there, but they're probably gonna have to win the SEC. Not probably. They're gonna have to win the SEC to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then South Alabama. I'm picking the Tide to advance. Nothing cute.
Yeah, I don't see this Alabama on Alabama crime taking place,
No.
except for the Tide rolling like they normally
Molly
do.
Whopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Sorry, but
Yeah.
hey, South Alabama got a good shot to win the conference tourney down there. So,
Yeah. So there you go. That's the optimistic side. But
yep.
yeah, I think Alabama takes care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, 1 seeded Duke against 8 seeded UConn. We've had this in the bracket. We both picked Duke.
Damn.
I'm not picking anything different this time around.
Yeah, although as I mentioned, the Marquette win and I don't think I mentioned a sweep of Marquette now confirmed this season. Not enough to persuade me into the Huskies knocking off
Hmm.
Cooper Flag and company. I have Duke as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one is a lot harder. Missouri and Maryland.
I don't remember if we had this one last time. I want to say I've seen this before, maybe.
I
And
feel like we
obviously,
have.
yeah, I feel like this region's pretty similar because I think I
Yeah.
had the next matchup. Anyway,
Yeah,
had
we have.
Missouri had Missouri going deep last time. I'm very worried, similar to a Michigan who I was out on the other side of the bracket. Obviously, my worry for the Terrapins has been the depth, but I'm gonna rock with the talent of Maryland.
Me
Ship
too.
them to the Sweet 16. I love it, man.
Me too. And that sets up a great game against the Blue Devils. UCLA, Iowa State. We have had this one too. Last time, we both picked UCLA. This time, I'm picking UCLA.
Book
We're
it,
both doing it.
bookmark it. Yep.
So,
Call us
man,
more, man. But I'm I need to see Iowa State have a solid conference tourney, and then let's talk Cyclones fans. Let's
yeah,
have a
yes,
sit down conversation.
yep. I'm not out on them. It's not a
I'm
hate
not
for
out.
them. I love their guard play. There's not this like, oh my, I hate the Cyclones team or they're frauds or anything like that. I think you just get a tough draw against UCLA. That's that. I really
Mm-hmm.
I think it boils down to that. Uh, Tough draw for Alabama as well. BYU, the Tide have played themselves now to a 2 seed, falling from a 1. While I'm very tempted to pick another 7 seed to knock off a 2, I think the Tide's offense is a little too strong, and I'm going with Alabama.
Man, I couldn't agree more. Number one in the nation for a reason. Obviously, very scary when similar to, I forget who it was, but defense is 345th in the country. We're not really
Golly.
sticking D, but we can score with the best of them. Give me the Tide, man.
Yep.
We're not falling flat,
Yeah.
hopefully. Yet.
Yeah. It that is bad. That is bad. But Mark Sears is amazing. So love Grant
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Nelson. They've got a good team. A title contender for sure.
Yep.
On to Duke versus Maryland. I'm doing it. I'm picking Maryland to beat the Duke Blue Devils in a stunner to go to the Elite Eight.
Wow. Wow. I'm not mad at it. I'm totally not mad at it. I'm sticking chalk. I'm going Duke.
Not mad.
But man, I respect it, bro. I
It's
respect the hell out of
yeah.
it.
It's a tough one, man. Obviously Duke can go Final Four. Maryland to me can go Final Four. But yeah, I'm picking Maryland to win. This UCLA Bama game is also very difficult. Who are you picking in this matchup?
I have Alabama. I'm chalked out. But
Yeah.
although if UCLA makes it this far, they for sure could make it into the Elite Eight. I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I have the Bama. I have the Tide.
Yeah. I've got Bama as well. It is tough
Okay.
though. This is when I tossed back and forth a little bit, but I like this Bama team still. I've got Bama, or let's let you go first. It's already on there. Duke versus Bama, 1 versus 2. What have you got?
I believe. No, actually, when they were 1 seed, I had them in the Final Four. I am having
Yeah.
Bama return to the Final Four. The offense, Mark Sears, the vet, Grant Nelson, love him. Coach Oates, I'm rocking with the boys.
I've got Maryland versus Bama, and I've got
Do it.
Maryland
Do
going to the
it.
Final Four on a run. I got to put my money where my mouth is. I said they're a Final Four sleeper. I've got them in the Final Four with 2 SEC demons on the other end. And that leaves us to the final region in the bracket. 1-seeded Houston up to a 1 seed. I believe they were a 1 seed the last time we did this as well.
Mm-hmm.
They played Omaha the last time we filled this out. It is no different this time. I've got Houston advancing.
I got nothing too cute to add.
Yeah.
Give me Houston.
And this is a fun one. My Gonzaga Bulldogs net rankings, those metrics and whatnot are very good. Again, I could be jaded because I've seen this play too much. I'm always honest about that. It's different when you watch a team play every game. You pick up things that you love more than a normal fan who's just regularly tuning into a game, and you pick up things you really hate more than a normal fan tuning into a game just because of the exposure. I'm not loving I'm not loving what Mississippi State's I'm going with the Zags. I've been out on them, but I'm picking Gonzaga to win.
Dude, this is insane. I fully agree. I am not
Yeah.
liking the trends of Mississippi State right now.
No.
Although it's similar for Gonzaga, we got some time with the tournament. I don't see Mississippi State winning theirs. Obviously, they could, go on a little run or something, but they're running
Yeah.
into a gauntlet in the SEC. Give me the Zags, man. I like that matchup there for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I do as well. That leaves 5-seeded
Dude,
Clemson and 12 seeded Drake. Like, my goodness, what a freaking banger. Drake is so
All
good. We both have them winning the
Yep,
MVC.
yep.
Oh, real quick, mini rant. I was on TikTok scrolling, and it was this dude who was like getting to watch Arch Madness in my college class is gonna save me. And they posted that and then had music playing in the background. And this dude said the top comment was like 600 likes. LOL Arch Madness. And he's like, there's people in the comments like making fun of the dude who posted it. Dumbass. It's what it's called in the Missouri Valley. It's Arch Madness because of the arch. Just people making fun of someone even though they are the ones who are wrong grinds my gears like no other. I hopped off
I
TikTok.
didn't
I was like,
see that. That's
I should
insane.
have
I
sent it to you.
also that's another sidebar. The Big Sky tournament is in Boise. They're calling it Starch Madness.
I don't wait, am I dumb? Why?
I don't know, but like I
Is it
just I
potatoes?
haven't. Well, because it's in Boise, I guess, but doesn't really equate to the Big Sky except for U of I, which like I don't
Wait,
know. It's
what?
just kind of interesting. But I also didn't know that
All
they
right.
named like they had nicknames for the conference tourneys. I thought it was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like.
yeah.
But
It was
anyway,
just the fact that the dude posted it and then the top comment with like 600 likes are like, dude,
trolling him, yeah.
yeah, yeah, people were just wrong. Anyways, I could rant about
Resume.
BS forever. As much as I want to pick Drake, I'm picking
Dude,
Clemson. Another sleeper that can go Final Four. Clemson.
it's all of these, yeah, these 12, these 13 seeds that I feel like should and could go on crazy Cinderella runs. They are just running into juggernauts. Missouri,
Yep.
Maryland, now Clemson. Like, I'm sorry, Drake, as good as you are damn good. I have the Tigers as well. Just
Yeah.
unbelievable season for them after a little bit of a shaky non-con, but
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah.
back.
They're back, baby. And speaking of back, another matchup we've had: 4 seeded Purdue against 13 seeded Akron. Love this Akron team. Play with a great pace. They're small. They shoot the three ball. They're a fun team to tune into. But I've got Braden Smith and the Boilermakers walking away with one, even though I'm not loving everything I'm seeing over the past couple weeks.
I totally agree. Gotta give respects to Akron. We've been on them for a while. That is
Yep.
shown as well in our conference pick'em, but
Yep.
got the Boilermakers here. Unfortunately, again, these 12, 13 seeds, man, that blows. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And another team I'm a little shaky on: 6 seeded Marquette, who has played themselves further and further down this bracket against 11 seed VCU. I love them out of the A10. In a perfect world, they'd get a at large opportunity, but I think they are going to have to win the A10 to get in, knowing the committee. Luckily for them, I think they do. And luckily for them, I think they beat Marquette in this upset.
I agree. Marquette, like we mentioned, tough loss to UConn. Um, little bullish on them, especially as they've, as you said, trended down in this bracket. Give me
Mm-hmm.
VCU. I'm liking them out of the A10 as well, man.
Yeah. And we've got 3 seeded A&M against 14 seed Utah Valley. We both have Grand Canyon winning the WAC. So obviously a difference here. I love this A&M team. Definitely in my like top 5 favorite teams to tune into. I've got the Aggies taking care of business, going to the round of 32.
I have A&M as well. Coming off of the upset. Um, give me the Aggies over Utah Valley.
Yeah. Uh Next up, a tough one for 7-seeded Illinois. It's been tough. It's been tough the last month and a half. Uh they reverted to early season form though against Michigan. Dominant performance. Boomer bust. There's a couple of those teams that I really think have that. Ole Miss, Memphis, and Illinois are the three for me that are going to make or break a bracket. Um, Going up against 10-seeded Baylor. I love VJ. After that win against Michigan, I'm going to go with the Illini to get the win.
I agree. Prior to that, probably would have took VJ Edgecombe in the guard play of Baylor, but
Yeah.
the Illini showing me a little bit of fight, a little bit of we still have some left in the tank, and I'm gonna
Yep.
rock with it.
In the final round of 64 game in this bracket, Tennessee against Central Connecticut. Central Connecticut, we both picked to win their conference, number one in offensive and defensive efficiency in conference play. But Tennessee, too much in a game. I'm going to go with the Vols to take care of business.
Yep, same here. Although they're coming off the 2-point loss, not really
Yeah.
too worried about the Vols.
Me too. And that leaves us with the round of 32, Houston Gonzaga. This is where my Zags love comes to a halt. I got the Cougs getting a victory.
I have the Cougs in the defense smothering Gonzaga, forcing them into too many turnovers and just a little bit of a collapse for the Zags here in the second round after giving the fans some hope with a big win over Mississippi State round one.
That's the problem. If they do get a win over like a Mississippi State, I'll gaslight myself into being like, wait a minute, maybe they're going to get on track. And then Houston plays. Samson's one of these most talented teams. And it would wake me up probably in the first half of like, oh,
right.
Yeah. Okay. A game we've had before. We had it last week. Clemson, Purdue. Picked Clemson. Picking them again. I love this Tigers team.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you came to this video for two separate opinions. This time around, it has been pretty similar from us, but that just shows, man. Some of these teams, man. These Tiger team is one of them.
Yeah.
Final Four upside, but they're running into a dog.
Yeah. A buzzsaw in Houston. Yep. A great game here. 11-seeded VCU up against A&M. I had VCU going on an Elite 8 run, but it's a little different for me this time. They have A&M in the round of 32. I love Wade Taylor and company, and I'm taking A&M to go to the Sweet 16.
I agree. I was not as high on VCU last time around, although I still think they're a great team. This A&M team, Wade Taylor, the seniority, I'm liking a lot out of the Aggies, especially when it comes to the big dance.
Yeah. And that leaves us with a boomer bust Illinois Tennessee game. I can see you're conflicted a little bit here. I can see it in your face. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that, oh, dude, that is so crazy because haven't really thought too much of this Illinois team. But considering how high I was on Michigan and that damn near 20-point blowout, and Tennessee, I know I said not really too worried because Ole Miss is a great team. They were at home, great win.
Yeah.
I feel like this goes for any team, but the highs and lows, the Vols, though they're 2-seed, it worries me. I'm going to take the flip. I'm going with the Illini, man. Going with Omar.
I'm going with the Illini as well. Very, very, very tough game. I like it.
Whew.
Listen, and if a Tennessee fan thinks I'm hating, I had you guys winning the title last year. So I am normally a Tennessee fan. You could still absolutely go on a deep run in the tournament. A very talented team. The loss to Ole Miss doesn't, it kills your shot of a 1 seed for sure, but it doesn't kill the upside of what you can be in terms of going on a deep run. But I've got A&M Illinois in a great game. Houston Clemson, we've got the same Sweet 16, Mo. Who have you got in this 1v5 matchup?
Man, I do really, really want to take the Tigers because I believe
I know.
all of my 1 seeds have made it to the Elite Eight. You know what? Actually, give me the Tigers. I just talked
Wow.
myself out of it. Give me the
Yeah,
Tigers.
not mad.
Insane.
Yeah. I have Houston winning here, but I don't blame you one bit. I said Clemson has Final Four upside, and I mean it. So I'll never complain about you being bullish on that Tigers team.
Back to
Um,
back Elite Eights here if it does happen, which would be wow.
they're an experienced team. They
Yep.
play good defense. They shoot well. Like they're a very complete team. And if you're looking for vets and things like that, it's the makeup of them. And they still have that win over Duke. I don't blame you one bit. So
Yep.
I like it.
All right.
A&M and Illinois. This to me is where the Illinois boom comes to a halt. I've got A&M going to the Elite Eight.
I think the big shot ability of Wade Taylor really comes into play here. I also have A&M in that matchup, but great run for Illinois. Just too little, too late.
And that leaves us with do you have Bama here or do you have Duke?
Yes, I have Bama because I
Okay.
had. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Who do you have joining them to complete your final four?
I'm gonna have. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not. I can't do it again. I cannot do that again. I didn't realize I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm taking Clemson so it doesn't happen 2 bracketologies in a row. I'm taking Clemson. I caught myself
You
before.
didn't want your four SEC?
I didn't want it again. I don't want it
Yeah.
again because although that they would be the conference to do so, I just think that is very unlikely. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what the odds of that are happening. That would be insane. Has that ever happened? There's no way.
There's no way. I
Like
mean,
that is insane.
but if there's ever a time, I mean, the fact it's the most teams probably that we're going to have at minimum since the Big East, if not
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
it's definitely possible. So, not mad with you there. I though have A&M advancing here to take on Maryland in
Yours would
the
be over
final.
Houston? Or did you have
Yes, yes,
Clemson? Okay.
yes, I
Okay.
did. I had Houston, great catch. I did have
Okay.
Houston, but result stands. I've got A&M going on a Final Four run. Here is my Final Four, so I guess I'll fill mine out real quick, and then we'll flip over to Mo's. We both
Sweet.
have Auburn, Florida, though.
Yeah.
For the first time in these bracket videos, someone other than the Tigers will win. And it's because Florida eliminates them to go to the title game.
Dude, people are gonna think, oh man, these guys are so boring. They just pick each other's same picks. I have it too, bro. I have to switch it up. I have to switch it up. I'm
I love
taking
it.
the Gators as well in the rematch. Man, I just need this stuff to happen.
Yeah,
I'm tired of fantasizing and thinking what I just need this to go down. I'm so excited. But give me the Gators.
yeah. I love it, man. And that leaves, I'll fill mine out here. I have Maryland and A&M. You have Bama and Clemson. Give me the Aggies to advance and make it to the title game against a familiar foe in Florida. As I said, you have Bama here and you have Clemson. Who have you got to go to the title game against Florida?
Although we got different squads, we both have all SEC championships. I have Alabama advancing to the title
Yeah.
game.
And Mo, put a bow on it. Florida, Bama, title game. Who have you got?
Although Auburn isn't my winner for the first time, my winner is coming out of the same side of the bracket, and it's going to be the team that knocked off the Tigers. I have the Florida Gators claiming their first national championship since, I believe, Al Horford and Joakim Noah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Crazy.
Damn. Billy Donovan was the coach. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. I've got Florida versus A&M, and as much as I want to be contrary to you, give me the Gators to win a national championship. That's the bracket. First
That
time
is the
ever we
bracket.
haven't had Auburn. So we'll see. I'm definitely not counting Auburn out. We both have them Final Four and losing to the team that wins the title, but we're in for a hell of a conference season, tournament season. What a time to be a college basketball fan. Mo, any last thoughts before we give the song of the pod?
Um, I guess just got to give because it's clearly non-conscious. Shout out to the SEC. Although we've been doing it this whole time, almost had another four-peat in the Final Four for the second
Yep.
straight bracketology. Insane,
Yep.
unplanned. I just selection Sunday, not this Sunday, the following.
Can't
Cannot
wait.
freaking wait, man. That
Yeah.
that is all I got.
Yeah. We're in for a doozy. And that leaves us with our song of the pod. Mo, what do you got for the people going into the weekend?
My songs, I've been trying to connect them to the video and to the vibe. I got a Red Hot Chili Peppers classic off Stadium Arcadium. Hard to concentrate because, man,
Nice.
this bracket,
It
these
is.
conference tournaments, it's got my mind racing. As I said, just cannot wait. But great song for the weekend as well.
Great pick. I have got Pack a Punch by Joey Valence and
Mm.
Bray featuring Danny Brown. I love the beat, love the hook. Great song, a banger to go into the weekend. And that's it for the video. We cannot wait to see you guys in our next installment. Have a great weekend, and we will catch you next week.
Later,
Peace,
everyone.
everybody.